Hey, welcome back, friends. If you want to join the friends, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. So I just spent like 20 minutes in these settings right here, just trying to figure out all the settings that are probably useful to an average person. There may be a couple settings I'm going to miss. If you do have any questions about any settings, you can hit or put a comment in the section down below, and I will find out what the answer is and get it for you. So don't worry if you don't see something during this video. I will figure it out for you because I'm still trying to get everything into this video, but there's going to be a couple things I'm sure I'm going to miss that somebody's going to want to know. So first things first, let's just start at the top. There wasn't a whole lot in this menu. The skip travel cutscene was not actually clicked for me, so I went ahead and did that. There's no point in seeing that little boat travel around, so just go ahead and click that. Everybody should do that. If you want legacy mode, that is in the gameplay settings, so that is an option right there. Drag and drop items, I personally like it where I can just drag it off my bar and it will drop it. It's a lot easier than right clicking and clicking drop all the time, in my opinion. A lot of people will probably disagree with me. If you have quick keys, or I forget what it's actually called, where you can jump the mouse around a little bit, it's actually faster just to do the right click option anyway, so you might want to turn this off. But for me, it's pretty nice. Buff bar filters is in the gameplay settings as well. I currently don't really care about the buff bar at all, so whatever's there is there. Okay, next up is going to be loot settings. This is where you're going to find the loot inventory. Basically, when you drop something, you can click on it and it will bring up a little loot inventory, so you can loot a large area. That's from the loot area. So you're going to want to click both of these on an average occasion. I know there's a couple cases, like when I was collecting cave nightshades, I actually turned this off because otherwise it will want me to collect the bones right next to the cave nightshades. So it's kind of something to have a good idea to kind of keep in the back of your head where this is, because you might need it occasionally to turn it off if you need to obviously not have it on for a little bit. I don't actually use any of the customizing the loot except for monetary value. I make sure that I don't see anything under 1000 GP. That does mean I don't get a couple of the seeds, so I do have to manually go in and collect those, but 99% of the cases, everything that I want that's of value is over 1k anyhow, so that's the only ones I really want to see. A couple stackables are a little bit lower than that as well, but it may not even be worth picking up stackables if they're under 1000 per drop. Besides that, the loot beam, I currently have it at 100,000. That way I don't see loot beams for every single drop, because a lot of the higher level monsters, they'll drop like rune plates a lot, so that's like 30k right there. If you have this set too low, you will see a lot of loot beams. If you want to see tons of loot beams, you can turn this down, but I think 100,000 is a pretty decent option. I think it gets rid of spirit sapphires as well, because I don't really want to collect those, but it keeps spirit emeralds if I'm correct. Death store settings, nobody really cares about these. If you're doing death or doing the death tasks, you want to enable the larger tasks probably, and group assignments if you want to. Player owned house, this is where you are going to find the teleport options for your player owned house, as well as the aquarium settings. The teleport options, just whether or not you want it in build mode, whether the doors are open or closed. Always have them open, just don't ever have it unclosed. Teleport arrival location, I always put it in the house. If you are leaving your house somewhere so that you can go somewhere outside of your house, you may want to have it at the portal outside of your house. I currently don't really have any plans on doing that ever. All the teleports nowadays are a lot better than the POHs anyhow, so just teleport inside your house. Aquarium settings, this is where you can turn off prawn balls if you don't want them. I figure that they're free barren sharks and they don't really get in my way too much, so I can leave them on. Featherless fishing means you can fish trout and salmon or rainbow fish, because you would usually have to use rainbow feathers or whatever, stripy feathers, that's what it is. You have to use stripy feathers to catch rainbow fish. So with featherless fishing, it doesn't know which one you want. I'm leaving it on trout and salmon. Rainbow fish might be a better option. Catching greater white sharks. If you are catching sharks and you're doing it for money, turn this off. Otherwise, keep great white sharks on. Action bars. This is how you can have multiple action bars on your HUD. So if I go ahead and turn a couple of these on, I can actually have a couple of action bars. I can move these around to wherever I want them to be. But if I'm doing any high level PVM, this might be a good idea. I could throw on like a defensive action bar or something like that. I don't think I actually have one active right now. But I could throw on like my defensive abilities. That way, if I'm tanking, I can have my normal action bar being a combat action bar, let's say, and then I have all my defensives for when the boss, or if I'm taking a boss, if the boss starts doing something funky, I can provoke it back, or I could use resonance, which should probably be on your buff bar anyhow, but it's another option if you don't want to have to rejig your buff bar every single time you are doing anything different other than just standard Slayer or low level PVM. Doomsayer, I turned off the majority of these options. I don't even know which one this is, so I probably should just turn this off. Only one that I have on right now is sinkholes, because I do like to know when sinkholes are active. It's up to you. I know wilderness warbands is a good idea. Cache, if you're doing that, is a good idea. Besides that, there's not a whole lot of useful options in here. It's basically just the Doomsayer options. Miscellaneous settings. This has a couple of fun things. So if you want to destroy containers when you're done using them, like I have, destroy the empty buckets when farming, so when I'm using compost, I don't have tons of empty buckets in my inventory. I don't plan on banking those anyhow. Auto teleport current skilling urns when full. I didn't even know that was an option. So that's super useful. There is no reason for you not to be using urns. You don't even have to click on it. It just automatically teleports it. So always use your urns, especially now that they're stackable. You should be using urns for sure. I also destroy my empty vials. I have like 7,000 in my bank and I don't ever use vials, so I don't think it's worth the 2 GP to keep them in my bank forever. And sometimes they get in your way, like when you're making overloads with a pack yak, they do get in your way a little bit, so I destroy those as well as empty vials when I'm drinking them. Bank pin options. If you have desire to have bank pin for high level areas so that you don't lose all your stuff, you can do that, and it will keep it so that you don't get into high risk areas. Also, high value drop warning. You'd have to type in your bank pin. If you often have stuff on your account and you're afraid that it will get hacked, basically, this is a good idea to have the bank pin on a couple of these options, just so that even if you are wearing high level PVM stuff, they can't drop it. Unless they have your bank pin, which means that they have your whole entire bank anyway, so you're just fucked. Sorry, you are just screwed. I might get rid of the swearing. Shop warning options. I currently have this set to 200,000 for the buy, just so that I can buy all my broad arrowheads. They cost 150,000, so I could have it like 150,000 in one, but I figure 200,000, anything under 200,000, I don't really mind if I'm buying that. I might turn it up a little bit if I'm doing rune runs, but I'll figure that out in the future. So warning, I don't almost ever sell stuff. The default was 30,000, so I left it there. Adventurer's log. If you care about the adventurer's log and what you have on there, you can change it out. I might, if I ever do treasure trails, like I'm thinking about doing 1,000 easy treasure trails, I'll probably turn this on so I can have proof that I did 1,000 of them. But it's up to you. Hit splats. I currently have all of my other player hit splats hidden. I don't care how much DPS the other players are doing. I care how much DPS I am doing. And just personal preference, I like the red hit splat for melee, magic is blue, and green is range. It's just the right colors for them. You don't have to change up your hit splats, but this is a recent update, so if you're interested in that, it's in your miscellaneous settings all the way down at the bottom, hidden where nobody's ever going to find it, unless if you're just going through all the settings. Aid settings, I turned off the teleport others, basically. I don't know if the lunar spells actually make a difference. They might be under the tell the other, but I turned it so that it's only friends in my clan can actually teleport me places. It's just kind of annoying when that thing pops up on your screen. Besides that, all the other things aren't really that annoying. Invitations might get annoying if you're in certain areas, so you might want to turn that to friends and clan. I don't see any reason to turn them off altogether, just in case somebody in your clan is trying to help you out. But it is probably a good idea to leave on the majority of these. Chat settings, if you want to change the color of your chat, it's right here. I did decide to turn on timestamps, that way I don't actually lose track of when somebody wrote something in. If somebody asked a question in my clan chat 15 minutes ago and I'm just seeing it now, they probably don't care anymore, so I don't want to reply to something that's been 15 minutes. There's not really many other useful options in this. So let's go ahead over to the interface. So this is basically everything to do with your HUD. You can open up edit mode and it will allow you to move everything in your HUD. You can just unlock it if you choose to do that instead. If you're only using one computer ever, it may be a good idea to have your lock interface customized to lock your interface, basically. I currently am playing on multiple computers with multiple screen sizes, so locking this is usually a bad idea. Transparency, you can make it so that they're more or less transparent, as you can see here. I like it to be pretty transparent because I actually have a click-through option for my chat, so I can click through it and still run around. So I want everything to be able to be seen. If you want it to be kind of like the older Runescape, you can turn it so it's not very transparent at all and you can't see anything behind it. But I'll leave it pretty far up. Not really too much in this. I guess if you want the clock or the Slayer counter, that is in the interface options. You can also change your XP pop-ups if you don't want the XP pop-ups anymore. I like them personally, so that's just the way I leave it. Also, max backpack columns. You can change it so that it kind of modulates a little bit. I currently just like it to have 4, and 4x7 is the way it's always been. This is the way I like it. So I will leave it like this. It does make it look a little bit goofy on the sides, but makes it so that no matter how I'm moving this bar, let's turn off the curses and my notes. No matter how I'm moving this bar, I'm only going to have 4x7, and I can just make it actually 4x7. And then skills will be little 3x3 here. So it's pretty nice. I like it like this instead of the other way around. I think that's it in the interface. In controls, this is how you are going to change your key bindings. That's basically all there is on this settings. You can lock your zoom. I don't see the point in doing that, so that you can zoom in and out. It's really useful for making videos because then you can get zoomed close in if you don't want to show everything else. You might want to just lock it zoomed all the way out. The problem is that sometimes the zoom tends to change on its own and get slightly closer every single time you log in. So I currently like to just have it locked off, in my opinion. That way you can move it around as necessary. Besides that, I'm pretty sure it's all keybinds in here. If you see something in this, I feel like I'm missing something. I think it's just the lock zoom that I usually use in here. It really bothered me. At some point I was trying to lock my zoom all the way out and it just didn't let me, and just kept moving it slightly forward, and it annoyed the heck out of me, so just turn it off, the lock. Graphics settings, this is going to be the big one, loading screens. You can turn that on and you will have loading screens. If you uncheck this, your loading screens will be gone. That's as simple as that. Just one checkbox, and it saves you 2 to 3 seconds every single time you teleport. You could just turn it off and it will load assets as you go. This is an NXT exclusive, I'm pretty sure. Everybody should have loading screens off though. It's right here in the graphics settings. Again, graphics settings, graphics settings, graphics settings. That's how you get these stupid loading screens gone. Thanks a lot to everybody that kind of told me about that, by the way, because that was annoying the heck out of me. I didn't know how to do it, and I knew that NXT was able to do it. It's in the graphics settings here. Audio settings, I currently have them all the way off. If you want to play any specific musics, or if you are trying to get one specific music so that you can finish up Comp Cape, this is how you see which one you actually need. I don't really like the sounds on the video, or sounds, especially for YouTubing. It's really bad to have sounds up, so kind of turn all these off usually. Combat settings, this is where you can change from Revolution, Full Manual, Legacy. I leave Revolution on majority of the time. Full Manual I only use in extremely high level bossing, and even then I sometimes use Revolution. I know Araxor, I probably should be using Full Manual, but Revolution is just so convenient, and I just need to make sure that I actually have Anticipates on every once in a while. If I ever start doing what is it called? Telos. If I ever start doing Telos, I will switch to Full Manual to do Telos, because I know how much harder it is than Araxor. Araxor isn't that hard nowadays, now that you kind of get the, or once you get the hang of it. But Telos is the highest level boss. Rots is also a good idea to have Full Manual on. Ability queuing, that's something that a lot of people like to have off. You can uncheck that. I currently like to have ability queuing on. It usually doesn't screw me over. If you are doing something like Virago, you probably want to turn this off just so that you don't accidentally basically hit somebody for a 9k and KO them when the guy is reflecting. It might be a good idea to have it off for Araxor as well, because in Araxor the web will reflect damage back onto you. So it might be a good idea to turn off ability queuing. Up to you though. Besides that, not too much. You can change the XP that you're getting from combat in the combat settings. That's where you're going to find it. Besides that, I think that's all the game settings you need to know. If you guys all enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, leave a like and a comment. Sorry about such a long video, but the settings are a mess a little bit. As always, have a good one.